June. Favourite videos to film, as I say, every month. But yeah, today we are going to be going through all the books I read in June. I read 8 books, like full books. I also DNF'd one, so I picked up 9 books, read 8 of them. But before we get started, please remember to subscribe and check out the links in the description bar. There is my Bookstagram account and also my Goodreads, where you should add me as a friend. But yeah, let's just get into the books that I read. I feel like I started the month off like reading really well the first half of the month, and then the second half of the month I like slowed down loads, so I like feel like I read the majority of the books in the first half and then like 2 books in the last half. I don't know, I've been super busy lately, so I haven't been able to read as much, and then I like get out of the flow of things when I'm like, it's taken me a long time to read a book. But still, I still read like loads of books. So let's just dive into it. So, first off, we shall talk about Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This came out a couple of months ago, a few months ago now. This was actually my first Ali Hazelwood book. I haven't read any of her other books. I have got 1 or 2 on my shelves, but this was her first like paranormal romance, and I buddy read this with my mum. I think I got her this for Mother's Day, and we sometimes like to just read the same book at the same time, have a little mini book club. So we decided to read this together. So it says, Misery Lark, the only daughter of the most powerful vampire councilman of the Southwest, is an outcast again. Her days of living in anonymity among the humans are over. She is being called upon to uphold a historic peacekeeping alliance between the vampires and their mortal enemies, the Weirs, and sees little choice but to surrender herself in the exchange again. Weirs were ruthless and unpredictable, and their alpha, Low Moreland, is no exception. He rules his pack with absolute authority, but not without justice, and unlike the Vampire Council, not without feeling. It's clear from the way he tracks Misery's every movement that he doesn't trust her. If only he knew how right he was. Because Misery has her own reasons to agree to this marriage of convenience, reasons that have nothing to do with politics or alliances, and everything to do with the only thing she's ever cared about. And she is willing to do whatever it takes to get back what's hers, even if it means a life alone in weird territory, alone with the wolf. So, I gave this 3 stars overall. I think the first half was more of like a 4-star. It started really well, it was fun, it was fast paced, it was like I liked her Misery, I thought she was like funny, but then the second half was more like a 2-star, and it started to like lack a bit. The romance developed like really quickly and like out of nowhere, and it just felt like a little bit rushed. I think it could have been fleshed out a lot more. Also, for a weird low, I don't know, like for an alpha werewolf, he was kind of just a bit like a little bitch. So like I didn't find him like particularly like attractive or alluring because he didn't give me like alpha werewolf vibes. I don't know, the writing in the end ended up being a little bit like, what's the word? Like juvenile, like not childish, because it's, you know, there's spicy scenes and stuff, but just a bit like cringe in some parts, which is a shame. But like, I still had a fun time reading it. My mum really enjoyed it. Maybe not one to read with your mother. There's a certain part of it which is actually hilarious, because my mum was like really into that. Thankfully me and my mum are super close and we can like read books like this and talk about it, and it's not awkward. But if you are thinking about reading this with your parent, like, I would suggest analysing your relationship with your parent first. If you're not like super close, then maybe read another book. But yeah, I gave it 3 stars. It was fun, but again, in the overall kind of like writing was lacked a bit during the end of the story. So that was Bride. I actually started the month reading this one, and that is The List by Yumi Adegoki. This is actually one that I bought in May, so it's more of a recent purchase for me. I think it sounded super interesting, and it says, Ola, a high-profile journalist, is marrying the love of her life in 1 month's time. She and her fiancé Michael seem to have it all. That is until one morning when they both wake up to the same message. Oh my god, have you seen the list? It began as a list of anonymous allegations about abusive men. Now it's being published online. Ola made her name breaking exactly this type of story, but today, Michael's name is on there. Will the truth behind the list change everything for both of them? So, I saw this and thought, wow, that sounds like really, really interesting. I ended up giving this 3 stars. I think it was really, like, I do think it was well written. The story was interesting, it was fast paced, and the end was a shock. Like, my mouth, like, fell open. The ending was such a surprise. I did not see that coming, like, at all. But I'm still a little bit confused over the message that the book's trying to, like, give, I guess. In some ways, it felt like it was trying to excuse, like, toxic men and their behaviours. But then in other ways, it made, like, really valid points and arguments, like, against cancel culture. So, I'm still, like, pondering what, like, the message is meant to be. I think it's difficult because, you know, I'm not going to say too much about, like, what happens, but, you know, cancel culture is massive, and it seems that I enjoyed reading it and I found it interesting. I'm just unsure as to what side the author was trying to portray the most. I would recommend reading this though, so if anyone reads it, then talk to me about it, because I want to know everyone else's thoughts on it. That was the list. Then I finally got round to Wild Love by Elsie Silver. This is the first in her Rose Hill series. I actually pre-ordered this, so it arrived in April when it came out, but I only just picked it up this month. If you didn't know, Elsie Silver is the author of the Chestnut Spring series, which I absolutely love. It's my favourite romance series ever. So I was super excited to read this, and this actually follows Ford, who is the brother of one of the main characters in the Chestnut Springs series. So it says, she's been driving him wild for years, the kind of wild that comes with wanting your best friend's little sister and knowing you can't have her. Forbes may have labelled Ford Grant the world's hottest billionaire, but all he cares about is escaping the press and opening a recording studio in the gorgeous small town Rose Hill. Something that comes to a screeching halt when he ends up face to face with a young girl who claims he's her biological father. After years of living in the city, Rosie comes back into town like a storm. Beautiful, messy and chaotic, one wide-eyed desperate plea for a job is all it takes for Ford to hire her. He vows to keep her at arm's length, but with her, verbal sparring is a type of foreplay. Friction that soon turns to blistering heat. Ford knows damn well he shouldn't cross the line, but shouldn't and can't are two very different things, and the only thing he truly can't do is resist her. So this is tropes galore. We've got brothers, best friend, oh my god, we have brother's best friend, we have single dad, a kind of single dad, we have small town romance, every popular trope is in this. And for a start, the cover, stunning, gorgeous, 10 out of 10, love these covers. However, I ended up giving this 3 stars. What I would say is this is a high 3-star, whereas Bride is a low 3-star, just a regular 3-star. This is a high 3-star, a 3.75. We're going more towards the 4, but not quite a 4. Elsie Silver writes such fun romances. She writes excellent spicy scenes, and Ford Grant is to die for. He is a grade A, hot man. I just didn't warm to Rosie as much as the girls in Chestnut Springs. I don't know why, but I just didn't. I enjoyed the banter between the two of them, but I also do think it was a little bit overdone. Yeah, a little bit overdone. I also think, even though, having the kind of surprise of, about someone coming along and claiming that they are Ford's biological daughter, so it kind of brings in the single dad trope. I do think been reading a lot of books recently, but I think also that can be overdone. I don't know, I think maybe if like a more original idea had been come up with, rather than just, oh, let's put like a single dad trope in, then it might have been higher rated. But like, I don't know, I just felt kind of like more novelty than anything, especially when the next book in this series is a single dad trope, I believe. So yeah, I didn't like kind of like say that eloquently, but I hope you understand where I'm coming from. But yeah, like, I still love Elsie Silver, she's my queen. This is a really good, like, this is a good book. I did enjoy it. And I definitely would recommend her. It's like a high 3 stars for Wild Love. I then listened to The Locked Door by Frida McFadden on Audible. This is included in, like, if you have an Audible membership. I've heard Freya talk a lot about Frida McFadden, so I was like, ooh, this should be fun. And you know what, it was fun. I actually listened to 2 Frida McFadden books this month. I will talk about the other one later, but The Locked Door, it follows Nora, whose dad, when she was younger, was arrested because he was a serial killer. He used to kill girls in their basement, and then decades later, Nora, who is now a surgeon, some of her patients end up being murdered in the same way that her dad murdered the girls in the past. So it's like a thriller mystery, finding out like what's going on, who's doing these murders and stuff. I gave this three stars. It was like a fun, fast-paced thriller, and I really didn't expect the ending. That was like, I didn't guess that at all. However, I do think maybe it was a little bit of a stretch because we weren't really, like, we were given no clues whatsoever for that to be the ending. Like, it was a little bit of a stretch. It felt kind of like, oh, this is the biggest twist ever, because no one will guess this, because how could anyone guess that ending? I also think the ending was a little bit rushed. Throughout it, Nora was kind of portrayed as having like sociopathic like tendencies, I guess, or behaviours in some ways, but then they weren't explained as to why. And also at the end, it wasn't explained as to like how she's then living with them. I don't know. It was a fast-paced, like, a fun thriller, kept me guessing, but I think the ending wasn't well executed. I think there were quite a few plot holes, but still, if you've got Audible and you don't have a credit, give it a listen. I think you can't like go wrong with thrillers. I don't know why. It's not that long either, so, but yeah, a fun thriller. 3 stars. More like a lower 3 stars, personally. Next we will talk about my DNF of the month, and that was Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. This was on my spring like TBR, if you've watched that video. So I was actually really excited to pick this up. I thought it sounded really good. It basically follows Princess Calla, who she obviously was like the princess of the world, and she ended up like killing her parents, and then like went into like hiding. She went on the run, but she was like, everyone was told that she was dead. And also follows, what is his name? Yeah, Anton Makusa, who is kind of like the guy in it. It's set in a world where like every year, I think it is, there's like these like games, kind of like the Hunger Games style, but it's not in like an arena or anything. Everyone has to fight to the death, surprise surprise, and he wants to win because his like love is in a coma and has been for years. So it sounded really good. She enters the games because she wants to kill the king. She wants to get like rid of like all the royals. So it sounded really good, but I just could not get into it at all. I read over 100 pages. I can't remember exactly how many, but I read over 100 pages and like I found the world really confusing. I didn't really care about the characters, and it was just like a little bit too slow, like all the action stuff. When I put it down, I was like, oh, maybe I'll like listen to it on Audible, but I don't think I'm gonna, especially because this is the first in what is gonna be a trilogy, and I think like I struggled so much to get through the first one. Like I'm not gonna care about these characters enough to read 2 more books on them, so DNF'd them, which is a shame because this is a gorgeous cover. This is the Waterstones exclusive edition, but maybe my mum will like it. So yeah, DNF that. Then I read What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. This was another one on my spring TBR. I have now finished my spring TBR, so I can move on to my summer TBR, but this is a very new edition. And at first I was like really apprehensive picking this up because it's not something that I would usually reach for based on the blurb, but I'm glad I did because I ended up really enjoying this and I gave it like a high 4 stars. So it says, in the glittering society of 19th century Buenos Aires, oh my god, I don't even know how to pronounce that location. Inez Elvira has everything except the one thing she really wants, her parents who frequently leave her behind on their globe-trotting adventures. Then she receives a terrible letter. Her parents have passed away in mysterious circumstances. Determined to uncover the truth, she sets sail for their last port of call, Cairo, bringing only her sketchpads and an ancient ring that her father sent to her for safekeeping. But upon her arrival in Egypt, the ring flares with ancient magic, and Inez is thrust into a treacherous game that could threaten her life, and into the path of her new guardian's infuriatingly handsome assistant, who seems determined to thwart her at every turn. So like, definitely not something that I would reach for usually, and I kept putting it off, but then I picked it up and I ended up really enjoying it. This is a duology, so the next one's going to come out sometime this year, but the like descriptions of the locations in Egypt were really vivid and atmospheric. It was pretty fast paced, which I enjoyed. The story was like super good, like the plot was really good and like kept me hooked, and also like the ending, I was like, excuse me, what the fuck? Like now I like need to know what the fuck is going on. So yeah, really enjoyed this, definitely would recommend. Even if it doesn't sound like your cup of tea, like it's really good. So I'm definitely excited to read the next one. It is like 100% YA, like it's 100% YA, but definitely a well written YA book. So yeah, loved this book. This is probably like the So my highest rated book of the month. So yeah, that is What the River Knows. I think the next one is called like What the Library Hides or something similar to that. But yeah, really enjoyed that. I actually forgot that I read, like I forgot that I listened to this this book, but I did listen to, oh my god, what is it called? Is it Butcher and Blackbird? Butcher and Blackbird. Sorry, I did listen to Butcher and Blackbird on Audible, which is like a really popular book at the moment. It's like a serial killer romance, and it basically follows Sloane. There's always a Sloane in like every romance series. There's always a Sloane. Anyway, Sloane and Rowan, who are both serial killers, and they like meet and become friends. And like each year they have like this competition of who can kill a particular person first. It's always like some kind of like nasty person, like horrible other serial killer or fucking like women abuser, who they like have a competition to try and kill. And it's a romance as well, so listen to this on Audible because I was like, this sounds like up my street, and also it's really popular at the moment. I gave it 1 star. 1 fucking star. Like at the end I was like, thank God this is over. I do not understand the hype behind it. God, it was so fucking boring. Like it was the most boring book, like romance book ever, and it is meant to be about serial killers, so like how the fuck can that be boring? But like somehow it managed to be boring. The plot was a mess. The timeline was like literally all over the place. For serial killers, these were 2 of the weakest ass bitches I have ever fucking read about. Like, these people are meant to be psychopaths. Like, why are you crying every single fucking second of this book? The only reason that I actually like finished the book is because I like spent my one and only credit of the month on it, and I was like, I'm not fucking wasting this. But no, like it was so bad. It was so bad. They are making a film of it though, which I definitely will see, because I the premise sounds so good. It was just so boring. Like it was so badly like executed. It was so like draining. But maybe they could make the film like more exciting. So I definitely will see the film. But the book just was not for me. I don't understand how you could make a book about literal serial killers. So damn tiring. But yeah, listened to that and completely forgot that I listened to that. So yeah, also listened to another Frida McFadden book, which is called Do Not Disturb. My god, I actually did enjoy this one. My mind just went blank, so I listened to Do Not Disturb by Frida McFadden. I gave this 3 stars. It was more like this was like a higher 3-star, definitely. Yeah, like a higher 3-star, and it was Queen Alexander, who it starts off where she has like killed her husband and she is on the run, and she stays at this like little motel, kind of like off of this dark road, and she finds out that someone else there was murdered like 2 years ago, and she keeps seeing through the window like this woman in the house across from the motel who is the owner's wife, and follows her and she needs to get through the night, like weird things keep happening, and I thought it was fast paced, I thought it was fun, very, very twisty and turny, like there's twists and turns, like every chapter. I did kind of guess the twist, but not completely, and it did keep me like hanging on right till the very end, until it was like, I wasn't like, oh, this is definitely the twist, but I kind of like had a semi-idea about it. But yeah, like I thought it was really fun. I definitely, like, when I had finished listening to like part of it for the day, I definitely wanted to, like, you know, pick up where I left off again and like find out what was happening, and it was a good twist. I think, like, it was a well done twist. It was definitely more fleshed out than The Locked Door. So yeah, definitely would recommend listening to that one by Frida McFadden. Also, I think there's probably some background noise but now because the boiler's turned on, which I didn't realise until just now, but hopefully it'll be okay. But the last book that I read this month was Wildfire by Hannah Grace. This is by the author who wrote Icebreaker, which I absolutely loved last year. This book actually did come out last year in October, and I did pre-order it. I got the signed edition. I did pre-order it last year, but it is set in summer. It's set at a summer camp, so I wanted to wait until summer to read it to get into those summer vibes. And it says, when Russ and Aurora cross paths at a university party, a drinking game ends with them spending the night together, but Aurora slips away before Russ learns her full name. This anonymity ends when they both turn up to their first day at work as counsellors, a job they had both chosen to escape Maple Hills for the summer. Given their history, there's still an obvious tension between the two, but the camp has a strict no staff fraternising rule. Russ doesn't want to risk heading home early, but Aurora has never been one for the rules. As things heat up, they'll have to resist or risk starting something they just can't stop. I actually finished this today, and I did enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it as much as Icebreaker, but I still had a really fun time. I gave this like a high 3-star. I stopped giving like points, like, you know, like 3.5, 3.75 this year, because I thought it overcomplicated things, but now, like, I think I actually need to. So maybe next year I will go back to giving to like the point system. I can't do it now because we're halfway through the year and that will like mess with my brain, but this is definitely like a high 3-star for me. It was just like so fun. I liked the summer camp setting. I don't think I've read any books set like at a summer camp. So that was really cute and cozy. It would have been nice if we got, I feel like, a little bit more of that setting, like described, I guess, for those like cozy vibes. I liked both Aurora and Russ. I thought Russ was really like wholesome, and Aurora was really like fun. I enjoyed both their characters. I liked how there was like no third act breakup. I hate a third act breakup. So it was like just like a nice story, and I think the issues throughout the book, there was like a big thing about like daddy issues. I thought that was done really well. And you know, the little spicy scenes are also good. I didn't like how like the epilogue kind of like skipped to 9 years ahead. I don't really like when books like skip years ahead for the epilogue. I don't know why. But it was still cute. I enjoyed it for sure. Wildfire. So yeah, I think this was well written. It didn't enjoy it as much as Icebreaker, like I said, but I still think she did a good job. And like, it was nice to see a healthy relationship. That's one thing, like, I think Hannah Grace is really good at writing healthy relationships. So I love that for her, and love that for us as readers. Well done for promoting what a relationship probably should be like. So yeah, excited for the next book in the Maple Hills series, which is called Daydreamer. I think is out in a couple of months. I've pre-ordered that as well. But yeah, that is Wildfire by Anna Grace, and that was the last book that I read this month. So yeah, wow. So those are all of the books I read this month. Have you read any of them? Are you intrigued in reading them? Do let me know in the comments. I'm excited to start reading for July now. I can't believe it's July. Oh my god, like, we are over halfway through this year. So yeah, I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.